During the Vietnam War, U.S. military forces employed Agent Orange, a strong pesticide, to eradicate forest cover and crops for North Vietnamese and Viet Cong troops. From 1961 through 1971, the United States effort, codenamed Operation Ranch Hand, sprayed more than 20 million gallons of different herbicides across Vietnam, Cambodia, and Laos. The most widely used herbicide was Agent Orange, which contained the lethal toxin dioxin. It was eventually proved to cause substantial health problems among Vietnamese people, as well as returning U.S. troops and their families, including cancer, birth abnormalities, rashes, and severe psychological and neurological difficulties. During the Vietnam War, the United States military engaged in an intensive chemical warfare campaign known as Operation Ranch Hand. From 1961 to 1971, the U.S. military spread a variety of pesticides across more than 4.5 million acres of Vietnam to eliminate the woodland shelter and food crops used by hostile North Vietnamese and Viet Cong forces. U.S. planes were used to spray herbicide mixes on highways, rivers, canals, rice paddies, and cropland. Crops and water sources needed by South Vietnam's non-combatant local people were also affected during this operation. During the years of Operation Ranch Hand, American soldiers employed more than 20 million gallons of herbicides in Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia. Herbicides were also sprayed near U.S. military sites using trucks and handheld sprayers. During the Vietnam War, some military troops remarked, "Only you can prevent a forest," a play on the U.S. Forest Service's famed firefighting campaign starring Smokey the Bear. The colorful markings on the 55-gallon barrels in which the chemicals were carried and kept identified the different herbicides employed during Operation Ranch Hand. In addition to Agent Orange, the U.S. military utilized Agent Pink, Agent Green, Agent Purple, Agent White, and Agent Blue herbicides. Each of them, made by Monsanto, Dow Chemical, and other businesses, had various chemical additives in variable concentrations. Agent Orange was the most frequently used and most powerful herbicide in Vietnam. It was available in a variety of formulations, including Agent Orange I, Agent Orange II, Agent Orange III, and Super Orange. More than 13 million gallons of Agent Orange were sprayed in Vietnam, accounting for over two-thirds of all herbicides used throughout the Vietnam War. Agent Orange contains substantial levels of 2,3,7,8-tetrachlorodibenzo (P-dioxin), often known as TCDD, a kind of dioxin, in addition to the active chemicals that caused plants to defoliate or lose their leaves. Dioxin was not purposefully added to Agent Orange, rather, dioxin is a byproduct of the herbicide production process. It was discovered at variable amounts in all of the herbicides used in Vietnam. Dioxins are also produced through waste incineration, the combustion of gas, oil, and coal, cigarette smoking, and other manufacturing processes such as bleaching. The dioxin TCDD discovered in Agent Orange is the most harmful of all. Agent Orange, and other herbicides used during the Vietnam War, included dioxin in the form of TCDD, which caused both acute and long-term impacts. Dioxin is an extremely persistent chemical molecule that may be found in soil, lake and river sediments, and the food chain for many years. Dioxin accumulates in the fatty tissue of fish, birds, and other animals. The majority of human exposure comes through foods like as meat, poultry, dairy products, eggs, shellfish, and fish. Dioxin is very harmful even at minute amounts, according to experimental animal studies. It is well acknowledged to be a carcinogen. A cancer-causing agent. Short-term dioxin exposure can cause skin darkening, liver issues, and chloracne, a severe acne-like skin disorder. Dioxin has also been related to type 2 diabetes, immune system malfunction, neurological diseases, muscle dysfunction, hormonal disturbance, and heart disease. Dioxin is very toxic to developing babies and has been related to miscarriages, spina bifida, and other issues with fetal brain and nervous system development. In the United States, concerns about Agent Orange arose after an increasing number of returning Vietnam veterans and their families began to report a variety of ailments, including rashes and other skin irritations, miscarriages, psychological symptoms, type 2 diabetes, birth defects in children, and cancers such as Hodgkin's disease, prostate cancer, and leukemia. When we initiated the herbicide program in the 1960s, we were aware of the potential for damage due to dioxin contamination in the herbicide. Dr. James Clary, an Air Force researcher affiliated with Operation Ranch Hand, wrote to Senator Tom Dashley in 1988. However, given the material was going to be utilized against the enemy, none of us were very concerned. We never contemplated the possibility of our own people becoming involved. A class action lawsuit was brought in 1979 on behalf of 2.4 million veterans who were exposed to Agent Orange while serving in Vietnam. 5 years later, 7 multinational chemical firms that created the herbicide agreed to pay $180 million in compensation to the veterans or their next of kin in an out-of-court deal. Various challenges to the settlement followed, including lawsuits filed by over 300 veterans, until the settlement was approved by the United States Supreme Court in 1988. The payment had escalated to almost $240 million, including interest. By that point, President George H. W. Bush signed the Agent Orange Act into law in 1991, requiring that certain diseases related with Agent Orange and other herbicides, such as non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, soft tissue sarcomas, and chloracne, be treated as a result of wartime duty. This helped to standardize the VA's approach to veterans suffering from problems associated to Agent Orange exposure. In addition to the tremendous environmental damage caused by the United States defoliation effort in Vietnam, that country has stated that around 400,000 people were killed or injured as a result of exposure to herbicides like as Agent Orange. Furthermore, Vietnam alleges that 500,000 infants were born with major birth deformities, and that 2 million people are suffering from cancer or other Agent Orange-related illnesses. A group of Vietnamese civilians launched a class action lawsuit in 2004 against more than 30 chemical corporations, including those that compensated with U.S. veterans in 1984. The action, which sought billions of dollars in damages, alleged that Agent Orange and its deadly effects left a legacy of health issues and that its usage violated international law. A federal judge in Brooklyn, New York, dismissed the complaint in March 2005. Another U.S. court denied a final appeal in 2008, infuriating both Vietnamese victims of Operation Ranch Hand and U.S. veterans. According to Fred Wilcox, author of Scorched Earth, Legacies of Chemical Warfare in Vietnam, the U.S. government refuses to compensate Vietnamese victims of chemical warfare because doing so would mean admitting that the U.S. committed war crimes in Vietnam. This would pave the way for litigation costing the government billions of dollars. After this video, watch our previous videos. As a support for our channel, put like and subscribe and we will respond with educational content. Thank you.